Hey, good evening, good evening, good evening. Trying to set myself up. Hope everyone's doing well. Okay, let me see how things are going. Streaming. I'll be very curious to see. Getting started with Twig. Oh, okay. I hope everyone is doing well. Let me just make sure I can hear myself. Oh, I can. Awesome. I can hear myself nice and loud. Perfect. Great. I probably need to increase the audio a little bit more. There we go. Oh, I can take this off. Believe it or not, I'm also streaming on TikTok. Oh, I have no way of actually knowing if people are watching or anything. Anyhow, can't really see. It says I'm live. Can't actually see anything. Anyway. Oh no, I am. Oh, there we go. All right, well, let's give it a go, eh? So I can close that. Get to the chat. There we go. Jump to the chat. Jump to here. Kind of sort all my tabs out. Too many tabs. If you have any questions, throw them in. I'll be more than happy to help. And yeah, let's have a bit of fun tonight. It's all about the twig. All about sticks, eh? Okay. So I am on a new connection, new internet connection, and hopefully we'll stay connected. Won't have any issues. So that's there, that's there. All right. I think we're ready to go. I think I bit off more than I could chew with this stream because there was so much to cover. I just couldn't cover everything. I just could not cover everything. I wanted to cover everything, but I couldn't. Twig is massive. Well, Twig is a small little branch, of course, but the whole concept of Twig is pretty big. Okay. All right, cool. So before we begin, let me just make sure I don't have camera issues like I did last week. I think I've got that sorted out now. I think. All right, going live. Just need to post something on the blue sky. Please talk amongst yourselves. All right. And what is that one? That is that one. All right, cool. That's that. And going there. All right. Got the 4 total viewers on TikTok. Well, I'm cross promoting, that's for sure. Okay. All right. Okay. That has been published, which is great. And we're finally just about to jump into it. Oh, it's OBS. All right. Start recording there. Start recording here. One moment. What am I doing? Record this screen, turn that off, and I need to select the right mic. Pod mic Pro, yep. No, what is it? Rode pod mic. Okay, I think. Cool. And let's just move over to that, and we are good to go. No dropped frames so far. In the world of streaming, that's important. When it goes no drop frames. That's important. Okay. How many people do I have? 5 there. 18. Okay, cool. All right, so we might as well get right into it. So today's all going to be about Twig, just a relaxed look at Twig. So please, if you have any questions, just chuck them in and yeah, I'll do my best to answer them. Okay. All right, cool. So let's get into it. All right. So what is Twig? Well, if you've used Drupal for a long time, you'll know that from Drupal 8 and up, we have been using a templating engine called Twig. Now, previously, back in the Drupal 7 and below days, there was the PHP template, which I do kind of miss sometimes. It's great to just be able to write code and get right down to just PHP, because it was just PHP. And some people might say, well, you know, PHP is technically a templating language. Well, yeah, it is, but there is a benefit of using Twig. Now, Twig is an actual Symfony component, so it's developed by the Symfony community. And the benefits of using Twig is that it is a modern and flexible and also secure templating language. And as I mentioned, it replaced PHP templates, which we had up until Drupal 7. And the real benefits, and when I say secure, it essentially means that it just escapes things for you. So you have to go out of your way to actually render insecure HTML, because there might be certain things that you don't want rendered on the front end, such as like JavaScript code or things like that. And so you really have to go out of your way to escape things and yeah, display things as raw generally. So here you can see a few examples. Now, I'm not going to cover Twig too much because there's a lot of information out there. What I want to do is just show you how to use it within Drupal itself. But it's good to understand just a bit of the syntax. So to output a variable, you would use these two curly brackets. If you then want to put in some type of like structure control, like an if statement or a for or a loop and things like that, you would use a curly bracket and also a %. And then if you want to comment, it's somewhere down here. No, there's not. Oh, here you go. You will just use the hashtag or pound or whatever it's called in your neck of the woods with the curly bracket for comments. Now, I do recommend that you spend a bit of time going through the actual Twig documentation, because you'd be surprised what you can achieve just by using Twig. And I do believe Drupal is using Twig 3, so we are up to date, which is great. Sometimes we can lag a bit when we are using third-party systems. But you do have things such as filters where you can just bolt filters onto variables. So for example, if you want to convert Markdown or things like that into HTML, you can do so. There's also, I believe, format. There you go. You can actually format. So just imagine this is the variable. You can also format it just by putting in this character, the pipe character. And I think raw is a common one. So you'll have the variable, and then you can actually view the raw value of that variable. There's also trim, I believe. There's a few of them. There's trim and things like that, okay? So as I mentioned, if you want to learn more about just Twig in general, just jump to the documentation and have a read, because there is a lot you can do. But let's now see how we can integrate it into Drupal, okay? So here I've got a stock standard Drupal site, or Drupal CMS site, okay? I've just installed it. And I've actually written a bit of custom code because I've got a bit of HTML, a bit of Twig, okay? Well, we're going to be writing HTML, but as a Twig template, okay? So what we can do is let's jump over to PHP Storm. So we come along in here, and I will go to my custom module. And this module is very, very basic. All it is it's a controller, which goes to, and so here is the route, and we have the markup right here. Okay. And you can see that we do have a single variable called content. And this variable is defined in the actual hook theme. So Drupal allows you to define templates, and we can call this template example underscore output. If we go to our controller, and you can see it right here, we have our template right here and our theme function being called. And then we are passing this variable right here, which is content, matches the variable here, which then matches the variable right here in the Twig template. Okay. So if we go to the actual URL, which is right here, and refresh, okay, we see this bit of content. Okay. Now, first things first, if we're going to do any type of Twig templating or any type of Twig work, you want to, first of all, turn off caching and also turn on Twig debugging. Because if I come along in here and put in a bit of text, refresh, you're not going to see anything. I'm refreshing right now. Where is it? Well, that is because we need to turn on Twig debugging. Twig debugging and turn off the caching. So if we go to development and then development settings, let's turn off caching and also turn on Twig debugging. And now if we refresh right here, you'll see we've got our little bit of text there on the side. Now, another thing I should mention is that Twig also gets compiled down to PHP. So it is ridiculously fast. And that's why there is caching. So if we go back, well, let's actually turn off caching. I'll just turn off caching for now. And let's just refresh a few times. What we can do is we can go into sites, default files, and you should see PHP folder, and then you should see a Twig folder. And then within here, you actually see the compiled Twig templates. And if we search for, let me just search for this, it should be here, but you can kind of figure out the name. What did we call this? Example? Is it called example? It's here somewhere, but it's actually quicker and easier to perhaps just do a find. There we go. You can find it in this PHP file. And this is what a raw Twig template looks like when it's compiled down to PHP. It does a lot of things. Does a lot of things right here. You can see that it comes here, compiles it. And so that's why if you want to, that's why when you make a change to it, you don't often see it because it is cached. And so you have to just turn off turn on Twig debugging and turn off caching. So if we go here and disable caching, it won't cache it. Now this Twig cache is these files right here. The do not cache markup, that is handled by like the cache tags and the cache context, which is stored somewhere else. Drupal has many layers of caching, trust me, many layers. That's why Drush CR just fixes all of life's problems. All of life's problems. All right, so now that we've got this, let's jump over here. Let's jump to our code. And what we're going to do is let's, first of all, write a few things, okay? So I will just pop that up there. Okay. So if you want to add a variable, what you can do is put in a, what is it? %, and then you go set, and let's create a admin user, and then equals Ivan, okay? So this is a variable that we have now added into Twig. We're not going to see anything because we need to actually render it out. So for us to render it and show it, what we need to do is just go admin user. So put in, what is it, username, like that. And if we jump back here, refresh, we should see it right there. Let's fix this up so it's a little bit better. Let's put in a break tag so we can actually see it. All right. All right. So you can see it right here. Let me zoom that in. You can see it right there. Okay. Ivan. Done. All right. Now, what happens if we add in some HTML? So let's put in a break tag, B, and also B at the end. What do you think is going to happen? All right. Well, it's escaped because remember, Twig escapes HTML, so it's not going to render it unless you type in, unless you come along in here and go and put in a filter called raw. That's going to go ahead and actually render it out. So like proper HTML. Okay. Now, be careful when you're using raw. That should be the last resort. There will be times in your Drupal career where you're having problems, things aren't rendering correctly because they're getting sanitized or escaped. And the only solution, because you're deploying on a Friday afternoon and it's 3 o'clock, I had a pretty crazy afternoon and it's a Friday right now. And you just want to get something out, you may be tempted to use raw, but just be aware that it will pass anything and everything through it. So if the variable is getting user information getting passed through, somebody could put in some dodgy HTML, some dodgy CSS, or sorry, no, JavaScript. So just be careful of that. But what you can do is you can do things, you can actually chain things up. So we could do things such as, what is it? Strip tags, okay? You can do that. It will go ahead and it will strip the tags. So sometimes you may get HTML, but you just want to strip them and that's it. The other option you can do is you can then allow some tags. So you can say, well, actually, no, I want the break tag to be available. We can do that, but it's just going to add it in. There are instances where you may want to use raw because you can say, well, actually, I only want the break tag to be used. So then you can go, then raw. And you can chain these filters up, which is very useful. Come along in here. Notice how it's not bold. So it's just got a break tag in it. Okay. So there are a few things you can do and you can chain these things up. All right. Now, when it comes to if statements, we can do a similar thing. Okay. So let's go ahead and I will copy this. And let's change this to set, of course, is admin equals true. And if we go, let's go, what is it? Like that. If is admin, and then what is it? End if. So we can do something like that. So if we set this to false, we're not going to see it. Ivan's gone. But if we set this to true, there you go. We can see the username. Okay. Now we can also set arrays. Now I'm not going to type that out because can't be bothered. But let me just bring this down further down here. And setting an array is pretty straightforward. Again, it follows a very similar syntax to just coding in general. You'll notice that a lot of programming languages are similar. You know, as long as you know how to define a variable and display an array and an array of objects and things like that, it's all similar. So here we have an actual array of items. And what we can do is we can loop through them. So we could say for okay? Tech item in, what is it? Tech items. This is always a little confusing for me because in PHP, I think it's the other way, but yeah, I guess it's just a little different. And we can then just do this. What is it? End for. And then within that, all we need to do is type in tech item, because that refers to the actual element, the individual array element inside. And then we refresh. And what do we see? Let's just double check that and make sure everything is working. For each. Oh, because I didn't spell that right. There we go. Tech item. We refresh and we can see our items right here. Now let's fix this up. So let's put in a, let's pop this down. Let's put in a UL and I'll put in a LI. And we'll also put in an H3 called tech items. So now we should really see it pop and we can see it right here. Tech items, and we can see Drupal, WordPress, and React. The other thing you can do, and this is actually very, very useful, you can check and see which part of the loop you are in. So you may want to do something with the first one, okay? So let's imagine we want to display the word first, like so. But it's getting displayed to all of them. How do we do that? Well, what we can do is we can type in if loop first and end if. If in the loop it is first, it's going to then display first. Do that, and we can then see the word first. You can even do the same for last as well, I believe. Let's try that out. And type in last. And there you go. You got a little popped thing down as last. That is actually surprisingly useful. I've used that a lot to actually just do a few things, move things around. But yes, it's very, very useful. So when it comes to Twig templating, you know, as long as you understand how to do arrays, variables, if statements, loops, from a Twig standpoint, that's pretty much enough. Of course, you can go down the rabbit hole and learn as much as you want about Twig. But when you're using it in a Drupal standpoint, that's all what you really need to know. Now, if other people have any other important things to learn, chuck them in the comments. I'll be more than happy to know about them. But with Drupal, you do spend a lot more time just figuring out what actual variables are to get information out of a node or a piece of content, for example. That's where you spend a lot of your time. All right, so now what I want to do is actually override a template and actually do a bit of theming. And we're just going to make changes to a custom subtheme that we are going to create. So to begin with, what we're going to do is create a custom theme, and it's going to be a subtheme. So what I'll do is I'll type in ddev drush generate, if I can spell it correctly, generate theme. And I'm using ddev because I'm using that to manage my local version. And Drush generate theme is a generate function of Drush. Now, if you don't know what Drush is, I do have a video on it. It is like Drupal shell. It is a command line tool to run Drupal essentially. So if you have a look here, you can see that there's a lot of stuff you can do here. A lot of stuff. Let me probably zoom that out a little bit more so we can actually see it. Oh, that doesn't really matter. Okay, so let's go back up here. Drush, what is it? Generate theme. Okay, and we're going to call this one Olivero WW. That's our one. And that's the machine name. The base will be, what's the base of it? What is the name of it? Let me just grab that. It will be Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? All right, cool. I'll grab this one. That's going to be the base theme. Yes, used for Twig live stream. No breakpoints. No. And it's going to go ahead and do everything. All right, perfect. Now, before we can jump and install it, let's move the regions across. They need to match, or the blocks are going to be added in a correct region, and things just get a little messy. Save that. You'd think it would actually copy over the regions because it knows the, anyway, that's all right. We've done that. And now what we can do is jump over to our trusty site, go to appearance, and go down till we see, here we go, right here. Olivero, WW, set that and install. And if we go to the home page, we are going to see this little thing not quite work. Just zoom this out a little bit. Oof, that's a bit too far in. And let's go configure. What is it? Turn off site logo, I believe. That fixes it up. There we go. It's nice. Looking a lot better now. A lot better. Okay. So at this point, all we've done is we've created a theme. Okay. And just quickly, just so you understand how themes work in Drupal, there is a Twig template for all sorts of sections in the theme. So when you turn on Twig debugging, which is very important, what it gives you, and this is very, very important, what it gives you, it first of all, if you inspect, you will see this theme debug. And this gives you a suggestion on, and it tells you exactly what template is being used. So from the top, we have HTML. So we have the HTML template. And then if we start drilling down, you'll see it uses, well, where is it? So it goes HTML, navigation, page, then it goes down into region, into regions, and then it goes into specific, because I do know this is a content page. If we scroll all the way up, you have node, which is then, where is it? This specific part, and then you have blocks within it, okay? So if we take a look at block layout and you click on, where's that demonstrate block regions? Is that gone? There used to be a button which to demonstrate block regions. No. Is that really gone? Oh, that's a shame. No way. Maybe it's somewhere else. Oh, that's a shame. I thought that was it. Anyway, okay. No, it must be block regions, block regions. No, it is gone. Huh. Or maybe it's anyway. Drupal CMS always seems to catch me off guard sometimes. There used to be a button where you could see the block regions on the actual front end theme. But here you can see what I'm trying to show you here is that a page in Drupal is made up of regions, and then within those regions you have blocks. And a block now is a lot of things. Before, blocks used to just be part of a region. Now, pretty much any type of field added to layout builder is a block itself as well. And then within that block, you have the field template and things like that. So that's important. That's just important to understand, because when you were searching for things to override, you need to know, okay, where exactly is that template file? Because Drupal produces a lot of template files. So again, if we go to the home page, so let's go to, say, this page, we have, and we inspect. So let's work our way up, which is always fun. So you have node, then you have a layout because this is controlled by layout builder. Then you have a block because then the block is rendering out the featured image field. And now we're talking about Inception level of levels. If you've ever watched the movie Inception about dreams and going, 3 or 4 levels deep. So this image, okay, where is it? So we have a block for the field, then we have the field, then we have the media entity, then within the media entity, you have the image field template, then within the image field on the media template, you then have the responsive formatter. Then it finally displays things. Okay, so you can see there's a lot of levels. There is a lot of levels. All right, so let's say, for example, we want to now override something. And if you want to say, grab the html.html, and you'll see that it is in core, themes, Olivero template. So our sub theme is the Olivero Drupal CMS sub theme, but then that theme's base theme is Olivero. So we're actually 3 levels down. So what I'll do is let's grab this HTML, this html.html.twig. All right, so we have our first comment. Yeah, I missed the show blocks region page too. Let me know if you find it. Yeah, it's gone, hasn't it? Yeah, that's it. I do miss that. I didn't know that was removed. There must be a reason why it was removed. Who knows? Anyway. All right, so let's now grab that template. So what we can do is we can go in here. What is it? Core themes, Olivero templates. What is it? Layout. And you can see all the pages here. So you have HTML, pages, regions. There's multiple levels. So we can grab this one and let's copy that, scroll all the way down till we get to our template, create a new folder called, what is it? Layout. It just has to be in the templates directory. Paste that in. Don't want to commit it. And we probably have to clear the cache, of course. Even though I've turned off caching, it's just better to clear it, let's be honest. We refresh and we should see all the way to the top. It is coming then from there we go, perfect. It's coming in from our theme. Okay. And you can go ahead and just change as much stuff as you want. But let's now override the node template. And what we can do is let's go to contrib and we'll go to our sub theme or our base theme, sorry. Copy this across, copy it into node, paste it. And no, we don't want to add it to Git. And what I'd like to do is just close everything up because occasionally you actually jump into the wrong template file and start editing things. Then you're wondering why it's not working. All right. We close all these. And we have our template right here. There we go. Again, clear the cache. Let me just clear this. Clear the cache. And we can jump over here, refresh. And we should see our actual what is it? Node, all the way up. And it's coming in from, and it is, oh, there we go. I had to refresh again. And it's coming in from our one. Okay, now that's all been overridden. Perfect. And what I'll do finally is create a test page. Test twig page. Test twig summary. Test twig content. And I can just add in tag 1, tag 2, tag 3. And you'll notice that Drupal CMS got a new, I think, Tagify widget for autocomplete, for this autocomplete widget, which is actually pretty cool. All right, so we've done that and let's just publish that. All right, we're done. Okay, so we've created a piece of content and we've overridden it. Now, one Drupalism that you are going to do a lot, and this is a very Drupal specific thing, is controlling classes and attributes. Because a lot of your theming is about, oh, I need to somehow style this element. I need to add a class. How do I add a class? Is there an easy way to add it? Can I add it? Can't I add it? So on and so forth. So you will see in Drupal, in templates a lot, you'll see these attributes getting added to elements. And what this does is this allows you to just add classes and also any type of attribute as well. So like a ID or a data attribute, whatever you want. And you can see here on this article, it is grabbing these classes up the top here. And it has this array and it automatically just throws it in. You can see that it's doing some conditional stuff here. So if it's promoted, then it will add the node promoted. If it's a full grid, so on and so forth, or you can just add in a class like that. So we can go ahead and just add in Ivan class, okay? And this will automatically chuck on a class. Let me zoom this in. Let's bring this up. Where is this? And if I scroll all the way up to node, we should see right there. There we go. Ivan-class. Okay. So we've got this basic. Let me zoom that out a little bit more. Where is it? All right, cool. We have Ivan-class. Simple. Okay. That is a hard-coded way of adding in a class. If you want to then remove classes, so this is another thing you can do. You can type in remove class. And this will, and you can actually chain these up. So I can then type in Ivan class. Come along here, refresh, and it is gone. Okay, you cannot see it. We could also remove this node type page. So if I was like, actually, I don't want, what is it, node type page, which is getting set up the top here. We can refresh and it is fully removed. Okay. So you have that option. Okay. The other thing you can do is you can add attributes, as I mentioned. So we could type in, what is it? I believe you wanted to, you could do something like this. Set attributes equals attribute. So it's grabbing the attribute and then adding in a custom class. Let's just test this out and make sure this actually works. There we go. So it is adding in the actual ID, my-ID. So what's happening is attributes is already getting passed as a variable into the Twig template. Then we are pretty much setting another variable with the same name. We are adding in our own attribute and then attaching it. We should also be able to do this, I believe. Let's test this out. Attach. Let's just put another ID on it, just so that we know it's working. Then we come along in here, refresh, and you can see here that it is getting added as well. So there's multiple ways of adding in these attributes. Now, one recommendation that I'll give you is if you do want to just add in a class on this and you don't want to override templates. Because right now, just imagine we want to use the same template for all of our content, but we don't want to hard code the actual class on it. What we can do is we can do it through PHP and we can do it through a preprocessor. So every template gets a preprocessor. So that'll be the theme and then preprocessor and then node in our case. And the way you figure out these names right here, so like node, page, HTML, is if you take a look again, take a look in here, look at the theme hook. That is the actual name of the template. So you can easily then figure out and say, okay, if I want to add a preprocessor on there, I can easily just type in the theme name, preprocess, and then node. So what you can do is on the variables, so there is this variables right here. You can type in variables, and I do know that there is attributes. And if we put in class and then put in another array, so we can call this one custom class. Oh, actually, let's do it. Put a dash in there. And if we refresh, let's find it. Where is it? We should see, oh, there we go, custom class right here. And you can see that with the order, it's getting added in a specific order. And that is because we are setting it at this point, we are setting it in code before it gets to here. And then of course it comes along in here and it sets it. So sometimes in your CSS, you may have CSS selectors that check the classes that begin with. So the order can be important of the class name. So just be aware of that. Now let's look at debugging and figuring out variables, okay? Because that is another thing you're going to be spending a lot of time. Figuring out what is available in a Twig template, how do I get access to it, and things like that. Because you do spend a lot of time doing that stuff. So there is one module which I recommend that you take a look at. And that is called, do I even have that up here? No, I don't. I'll use this one. And that is called Twig Xdebug. Now, of course, you need Xdebug set up and installed. So I've already got that set up. And what it does is you can add this breakpoint and it'll give you, it doesn't let you step through the code in PHP like you can, but it does allow you to just put a breakpoint and then it'll show you context, which are the variables that are available. Often in the theme template, you will see comments here showing you exactly what's available if the maintainer has been nice enough to do that. But when you are developing your own type of templates, you may not have put that in. So yeah, just be aware of that. But if we go ahead and install it, let me make sure I've actually downloaded this. Have I downloaded this? Where's Composer? So I've got Twig Debug. Yes, I do. Perfect. I've got it right there. So now what I can do is jump over to my Drupal site, go to Extend, search for Xdebug, and install it. So this is just for Twig. Now, this isn't going to install Xdebug. You still need your local server and everything set up with it. Because if I now come along in here and I put in a breakpoint, what's the exact syntax? Just so I get it right. There we go. Let me just grab this. I can put a breakpoint in there. Now, putting a breakpoint this way won't work. You need to just add this word breakpoint, and I'll put my listener on, and I need to also turn on Xdebug. So in ddev, that is just running Xdebug. This is why I like to use ddev. It's a great system to run a Drupal site. Come along in here, and if we come here and refresh, what's going to happen? Give it a moment. All right, it's going to output it like here, and it's going to go here. But most importantly, if you click on these threads and variables, you will see this context, okay? And this gives you all information on what is available. And you can see here all the classes as well. You can see the classes have been added. You also have caching information, author attributes, content, the content variable. And these variables do match up with what's here, okay? So you can see that that kind of matches up with the variables. So for example, date should be, so date metadata. We look at date. It's here somewhere. Oh, there you go. Date is there. And then we have, maybe the metadata is getting pulled in somewhere else. Where is it? Oh no, should be somewhere. Date metadata. Anyway, it's probably hiding somewhere. And then what we have is we have all these other variables. Now, my experience, I don't really use Twig Xdebug that often. What I prefer to use, but it's there, okay? It's there as an option, and it's important to mention it because people will be like, why are you talking about debugging Twig when you're not using the module which is actually called Twig Debug? What I like to do is I like to just put a breakpoint in here and then just turn on Xdebug, come along here, refresh, and then straight away I will see it. And these variables are pretty much identical. You can see here, it's pretty much the same bit of data. And often you do have a lot more code in your preprocessor, so you may want to step through things and debug things and test things out. So I like to do it through here. Also, this is a great way of seeing, well, actually what is available, because under elements, you have node and you can be like, all right, cool. So we have the node template, oh, sorry, the node entity here. That's great. Yes, we've got that. You've also got other things such as these elements that can be rendered out, like title. And then you can come along in here and be like, well, actually we have node on the actual variables array as well, directly available. So you do have a lot of control. Now, the other way of looking at variables is using the dump function. So what we can do is we can, let's say we want to grab the tags, okay? So the tags, let's take a look here. Let's refresh this. So we have tags right here, okay? From the code, what we can do, let me bring this down a little bit. If we want to render out the tags, now the tags is a list item. So what we could do is put in this bit of code. Now, I'm not going to type this out because there's a lot involved. But this will just check that if the tags field is not empty, if there is data, it's going to then display it. It does a for loop if it's an entity, and then the entity, because the tag is a referenced entity, then points, it's essentially an entity reference field, then it goes and just finds the name and then the value of that field. So if we refresh here, we should see tags, and then we see down here, tag 1, 2, and 3. The reason why you see such a large padding is because of styling. But what we can do is we could use the dump function, and this helps us debug things. So come along in here, we refresh, and now we can actually see. Most of the time it looks good, but sometimes depending on your styling, front-end styling, things may look a little broken and it can be a little annoying. But here you can then drill down and inspect arrays. The other thing you can do is if we jump over here, we could, so for example, what does it go? Element. And if we inspect this one, oh, that's null, because what is it? Oh, it must be something else then. Or is it elements? I always forget. Oh, it's probably, well, this is why we come along in here, put in Xdebug. Or no, even better. Let me show you. You can come along in here and put in a dump right here. Dump function. Encode, refresh, and it's got to pop up the top or at the top here. Oh, it's elements. Yeah, there we go. I thought so. And we can type in elements, and that will then give us access to the elements array. So we can go ahead and drill down. And that's just a nice way of just seeing what is available and things like that. Okay. But beware that sometimes this may not look that nice because you're having styles that are overriding it and breaking it. And sometimes it can be hard just to figure out exactly what is being shown. And annoyingly, if you say try and inspect this, yeah, it's not, there's no easy way of actually seeing what it looks like. Because in the past you could use like var dump and it will just show you markup here so you can kind of see exactly what it looks like. But I've worked on sites where, yeah, the styling was all over the place and this was pretty much unreadable. So yeah, just be aware of that. So we've looked at how to inspect arrays and variables, and that's important because that's where you spend a lot of your time fiddling around with variables and trying to figure out, okay, I want to get this, this, and this. How do I do an if statement? How do I do that? Now, one other important feature of Twig to understand is the ability to create a Twig template and then simply include it and reuse it, because that can then foster reusability in your code base. And I use this feature a lot, especially if I'm going to be using the same bit of Twig markup and you just want to reuse it wherever you want. So what we're going to do is let's just go ahead and move this bit of HTML into a different section, and we don't even have to create a theme function. We can call this one base field tags .html .twig. You can call it whatever you want, okay? And we can paste this in right here. Okay. And if we save that, come along here, refresh. Let's make sure it's not there. Yep, it's not there. That's great. Let's also, while we're at it, let's remove this. Don't need this. Okay, things are looking now much neater. What we can do is we can now go into any template and then type in include, and you want to put in the name of the theme, and we can then type in templates. Then it's, because remember the folder is templates, then it's the name of the actual template. So base-field-tags html.twig. And if we refresh, it's going to simply include that in. And you can now go ahead and go into any of the templates and then just include it. So if we were to chuck it right at the bottom, it'll be somewhere down here. It's here. I know it's here. Yeah. So you can chuck that wherever you want. Let's actually put that in body. Why can't I see that? Anyway. Let's actually remove that. Let's hide that. That's outside of there. Let's include that. That's there. That's fine. And we come along in here. I always like to do this. It's kind of figure out. I wouldn't be surprised if it's somewhere hidden. Interesting. It is not rendering. Anyway, I have to look at that later. Anyway. Okay. So that is a good way of just including templates and reusing them. The other option you have is to extend them. And to actually demonstrate that, what I want to do is let's go ahead. Let's remove this one. Let's just clean this stuff up. Yeah, that's all removed. Cool. All right. Let's all clean this stuff up. And what we're going to do is let's override the block template. So I'll go and grab the block template right here. Where is it? Templates. Oh, no, not there. We'll have to go all the way to core, themes. Where are you? Olivero, templates, block. And let's copy this one across. And we'll copy that all the way down. Where is it? Into blocks. Okay. Oh, wait, no. I want to save that. Yes, and click on cancel. All right. So we have our little block template right here. Perfect. And what we can do is if we come along in here and refresh, where is it? Well, let's turn off Xdebug. Oh no, we'll leave Xdebug on for now. And if we come in along here and refresh, we'll see that that block template is used absolutely everywhere. So now that will be, scroll up, should be right here. Okay, you can see here, it is being used. Okay, awesome. Now what I want to do is override this block layout template just for the tags field. So what I can do is I'll copy this suggestion, because what Drupal allows you to do is that it will give you file name suggestions, and then it kind of starts from the top down. So it will search for a file name which is using this bit of this this Twig template right here, which is blocks, block field name, node, page, field tags. And then it kind of adds context to the field name. So you may want to only override the field tags on the field tag block template on node pages, for example. So you may only want to do that. That you can do. Okay. So what we'll do is jump over here. And we can save that in. And now if we put in a test, clear the cache, refresh, let's make sure that our template is getting overridden, which is great. It is. It is. And now what we can do is, so we've done that. Okay, that's good. It's good. So we know it's been overridden. If we want to reuse things, so let's say we want to actually reuse this template, we can do now extend. Okay, so we are extending. Now we could include it, but the reason why I want to use extend, let's just use extend first. Go along here, refresh, and now we straight away see the same markup that is getting added here is getting added to our field block. Now, the reason why I'm using extend is that Twig has this concept of blocks. Now, apologies for using the word block a lot, but now this block has nothing to do with field blocks and things like that. This is just a bit of HTML, a bit of the template, which can be broken up into certain sections, okay? So we have this block called content. This block name can be called whatever you want. But what it allows us to do, and this is actually pretty good, we can override and extend just this bit of markup and not this bit of markup right here. So if you are creating templates, think about how reusable you want to make it. And you may want to wrap certain parts of your markup with specific blocks, because then it allows you to extend it without overriding or copying a template. Because what we can do now is we can just copy this bit of code. So we can say extend, and then everything within the content block will get replaced with this bit of markup. So if I also add this in and refresh, you're going to see that now our bit of markup has been replaced, okay? And if we were to come here and chuck something within this content block, it's not going to appear because we have simply overridden it. So that is one way. The other thing you can do is if you want to add something, say, below here, and you want to keep everything above, the other option is to use parent. So what we can do is we can remove this and type in parent. And make sure we wrap that, of course. Then we can add in our custom markup. Go in there, refresh. You'll see that it will render everything above it and then add in our custom markup. The only issue is that if you want to add something within this div right here, you can't, okay? But that is one option you have, okay? That is one option you absolutely have. And best of all, you can add in another block. So we can let's add in another block called footer, and this is called say block footer, and we've added this to the main block template, and that's going to now be added absolutely everywhere. Okay, it's on every single block it's going to be added, and we can simply come along in here and say, well, actually, I want this to be block footer tags. Okay. And now we've just overridden that bit for this particular template. So you can see that, yes, extend works kind of like extending classes, but just in its own kind of way. And at first, it can seem a little complex, but then once you get used to it, it's actually a very powerful feature, especially if you are heavily using Twig and you want to override things and do stuff like that. All right, so let me just clean this up and leave this here. All right. So now if we refresh, we should see somewhat coherent. Oh no, still see that. Let's clean that up. Don't want that displayed everywhere. Okay, and that's refresh. All right, awesome. If we jump over to our node template, you'll see this concept of content. This content variable is used a lot. I believe is, yeah. See, again, content variable is used here as well. Now, this is just a Drupalism that they've decided to agree upon, that the main variable that we're using is going to be called content. And then everything's, all the main stuff gets passed in and rendered through this variable. But there are a few things to be aware of, and also a few things that you should know when you want to control what gets rendered out of it. So if we come along in here, you'll see that there is a filter called without. And what it will do is any array key that is specified in this without will then be removed. So when a comment is added and the comment form is added to the node page, you can see here that it's not going to be rendered with the content variable. It's going to be then rendered below. Now, if we put in a debugger and have a look at it, there we go. That was pretty quick. Come along in here and then click on, where is it, content. You'll see that there is only one array in here, array value, and that is layout builder, because that is a very specific thing, because this content type is controlled by layout builder. So what we can do is, if we really want it to be a pain, which we will be, come along in here and let's change this. So what you can do is make this an array and put in underscore layout builder. What do you think is going to happen now? Come along here, refresh, and we're not going to see anything because we have excluded that layout builder functionality to be displayed. Now, what we can do is we can turn off layout builder. So let's just do that for now. So what I'll do is let's actually turn on blogs. So I'll come along in here, recommend, and I'll install the blog recipe. And give that a moment. That's installed. And so if we come along in here and click on blog, you'll see that, yep, nothing is rendered. And then if we go to content types, manage display, and then just go uncheck it. Now, if we go back here, you'll see everything is rendered, which is great. And if we inspect, well, let's just close this off. Let's come along in here and simply inspect this. We should see in content, and we'll see a lot more options. Okay. So if we want to hide the featured image, what we can do, well, if you're using layout builder, you can just simply remove it from the layout. Okay. That's the first thing you can do. But you may want to sometimes hide it dynamically or from the template. And what you can do is pop back in here, go to node, and instead of that, we can change this to field. What is it? Featured. Was it feature image or featured image? I forgot. Featured image. Okay, there we go. All right, and come along here, refresh, and you can see it's no longer there. Okay, it's been removed. And this is just a great way of removing things from the template. And you can also do the same thing in your code as well. So you may want to remove from here. You may want to put in a bit of conditional logic and then remove things from the content variable, depending on what type of content type you're on or things like that. Okay, there's a ton of stuff you can do. But you can also add in templates into the content variable. And I've done this a lot, where you just want to inject a bit of markup at the bottom of the content variable and have it displayed. And that you can easily do. So what I'll do is let me just copy over a template, just a quick template that I created earlier. And this one's called Olivero template example. And what I'll do is I'll create a file. What is it? HTML.twig. And we'll add in template goes here. Add that bit of markup. We have a content variable, which is great. And finally, what we can do is chuck this in, okay? So what's going to happen is this name right here, Olivero WW template example, that can be called whatever you want, okay? But it just needs to be unique. And what's going to happen, Drupal will come along, grab the content variable, grab this theme, and then render it out. So if everything is working correctly, and no, I do not want to upgrade right now, and I type in Drush CR, come along here, refresh, we scroll all the way. Well, no, where is it? Up the top? Ah, there you go, it's right here. And you can see that it's added right there. Okay, and it's been added in. And if we want to remove it, what we can do is come along in here and simply, well, no, not that. Let's just move the dashes. You can actually just add it on as well. And you can see that it has been officially removed. So there's a lot you can do here, okay? There is a lot, all right? There is a lot you can do. So let me just bring this out so we can move on to the next thing, okay? And pull this out, all right. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you will spend a lot of time just figuring out where content is and how to get access to content and things like that, okay? And when you're trying to figure that stuff out, Google is your friend, all right? You want to make sure you're Googling as much as you can and just asking, how do I get access to this, this, and this, all right? But here are a few important things a few important ones, okay? Which I recommend which can be a little difficult to use. And then we'll look at a few modules. So the first one is, go back here, let's go to our node. And let's imagine we want to pull in on the featured image, we want to pull in the actual URI of the featured image, okay? So what's going to happen is node, because we know that the node is getting passed, then we have the featured image, then it's dot, then entity, because featured image is an entity reference to then the media entity, and then on media, the file field or image field is an entity reference to the actual file entity, and then you have URI, and then you have value, okay? So if let's just put in the word file in there so we can actually see it. Come back here, refresh, and you can see that we do get this file name, but it's using the URI. It is the Drupal URI essentially, okay? Now, if we want to convert that to an actual path, what we can do is we can wrap this with file name, URL, and use the file URL function. And that will give us a relative path. And then you can go ahead and add in your own extra stuff. All right, so we have a comment here. Oh, You're doing this while I debug Twig at work. Yep. That's a good comment. You spend a lot of time debugging Twig, honestly. Sometimes, yeah. Especially, and also Twig and caching issues as well. That is the number one thing you spend a lot of time on. Okay. So the other item that you may want to get access to is, say, the alternative text or the alt tag on the image. Now, what you can do is, I do know it is on here. So let me just grab this. Now, I'm not going to go through absolutely every single option because, trust me, there's a lot. There's a lot. And if we search for, so entity, and then it's on here, I think it's just alt. And then you refresh. And there you go. You now get the alt for that as well. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do. And it just takes experience, honestly. It just takes experience. And you will sometimes pull your hair out trying to figure out, how do I get access to this little bit of information? But again, ask AI as well. Maybe that would help. Oh, well, thank you for, oh, there's a comment there. Been using your videos for help. All right, cool. Thanks a lot. Well, thank you for watching my videos. And I don't think you should be watching my videos and working at the same time. Don't know how you can multitask. That's right. But don't worry, these videos are available after the fact. You don't have to watch them live. They get most of the views after the fact. Okay. So again, when it comes to figuring out the variables that you need, this is where, you're going to be spending a fair bit of time getting to grips on finding the correct value, finding the correct entity. How do I reference this? And sometimes if there's an array and this and that. Now, what I want to do is show you a bunch of modules. We're just going to quickly finish things off and just smash through a bunch of modules. And the first module I want to show you is called Twig Field Value. And this just helps you deal with fields, essentially. And what I'll do here is, let me just type in, search for it. What is it? Twig. I've already downloaded it. So let me just go ahead and install it. Field value. And we can click on install. Give that a moment. And let's jump back into, well, this tab. I'll close this one off. And the thing to be aware of is that Twig field value really works off the content variable. So you want to make sure that your fields are getting passed into the content variable. So that's the only thing to be aware of. You can't do stuff like this where you're running it off the node variable. So what we could do is we could get the label. So let's just get the, label, the tags label. And we can type in content, field tags, and then add in a filter called field_label. Now, of course, this is just going to be the word tags, but trust me, it's actually pretty hard to sometimes just get the label of the field. So if we come along here and refresh, you will see that, yep, we do have this field label called tags. And you can also get the field value. Let's put a break tag in there. And let's copy this. Put in values. And this one can be field value. Then we can do a join because it is a multi-value field. So we can do, safe join, and then separate them by a comma. Come along here, refresh. And you can see that, well, this one only has a single value of a Drupal at this point. So if we were to actually put in tag 1, tag 2, let's, React. Let's put that in there. And you'll see that, yep, it is getting added. So Twig field value it's a nice module to have if you want to get specific things out of a field. Of course, you can always do it yourself, and one thing that I often do just to avoid installing too many modules is I sometimes do a bit of processing and getting information out in a preprocessor and then passing that as a variable to Twig. So that is one option you have. Now, another module to take a look at, and I use this module a lot, and it does have 164,000 installs. I always love to check the stats. Let's see if it's growing or declining. Oh, look at that. It is, it's growing. It's been growing for a fair bit. And then last bit declined a bit. I always like to look at the Drupal stats. It's always good to see when certain modules are climbing. Because if you take a look at the Drupal stats in general of Drupal core, it's kind of trickling down. Oh, that's all right. That's all right. What about this one? Oh, no. Not, what is it? Let's take a look at Twig field value. Oh, okay. That's all right. That's interesting. Mid 2024 kind of plateaued. Mid 2024, yeah, kind of plateaued as well. Maybe something happened. Who knows? Anyway, don't want to get distracted. So we've got here twig-tweak. Now say that 10,000 times. That's a bit of a tongue twister. But twig-tweak, that's such a difficult name to say, is a pretty powerful module. And if you are using Twig, I recommend that you use this module because you can do great things such as pulling in views, displaying views. It also gives you access to regions. You can render regions. You can do a lot of stuff. And I do think, and now I'm going to get a bit ranty, but I do think that with Drupal CMS and this whole concept of Drupal being targeted towards developers and no code platforms, maybe people will start using Twig in the backend directly. And there is a module called Twig UI where you can modify your Twig templates directly in the backend. And this will be useful for that particular use case. Oh, yeah, I love that comment. Twig-tweak. Yeah, say that 10,000 times. Twig-tweak, twig-tweak. Yes. But I'm being serious. It's like, why couldn't we use Twig in the back end and you don't have to use an IDE to modify it? Because it's meant to be, you could actually control it. I'm sure I've seen SaaS platforms that allow you to control templates and they use like a twig style markup because the actual templating syntax is very similar to a lot of other templating languages. But imagine just being able to generate this stuff and you could create like an AI to kind of generate this, but then that's experience builder, isn't it? Anyway, we'll see. We'll see. We can see here, there's a lot of stuff you can do with twig-tweak. And if you are, again, investing heavily in using Twig for your front end, you can actually grab a lot of stuff. Like here, for example, being able to render out an actual image, just passing a URI. Then also there are I guess that would be the image style. And then if it's responsive, some cool stuff you can do. All right, so let me demonstrate this. So I'll type in tweak and we can install it. And let's go ahead and just render out a content block. I'll give that a moment. I'll also search for, what is it, block content. And then we can go to, well, before we move on, let me just turn off Xdebug because I've noticed things are a little slower. And you want to, no. Oh, off. There we go. Because it doesn't cache things. All right. Come to blocks. Click on create new block. You have to create a new block type. We'll call this one basic. And that's it. Go to blocks. And we'll call this one call to action. Call to action. And then we're going to have click here right now. Okay, so let's imagine we have these blocks sprinkled out throughout our site. And what we can do is we can use the Drupal entity and let's just pop these down. Block. Pop these down. There we go. Come along here, refresh. Scroll all the way down. You can see here we have block. There we go. Click here right now. And that's just a nice way of using this Drupal entity. This is the entity type. And then you have the word, the number 1, which is the ID, which is just 1. Now, another thing you can do with it, and I just discovered this today, was a Drush command called twig-tweak debug. All right, it's nearly 10 p.m. here, and saying twig-tweak is very annoying. I'm going to say it wrong. But if we search for twig-tweak debug, you'll see that it actually gives you a lot of useful information about. So if we scroll all the way up, you can see all of the available functions. So this is a great way of figuring out, well, what's available, what can I use, what can't I use? You can see all of the available functions. And then this is and then you can use it in your code and see what all the, you can see all the filters which are available. And again, you can use that then in code. Then you have all your tests. Then you have all your paths. Oh, okay. These are the actual template paths. Cool. That's for the templates. So that's a very useful command. Moving on from twig-tweak, you want to take a look at another aptly named Bamboo Twig. Oh, gotta love these names. No, actually, Bamboo is a pretty cool name for a module that focuses around Twig because it is called Twig already, okay? I'll give him credit. I like that. I like that. So Bamboo is similar to twig-tweak. It offers similar functions, but instead of just having one module, it just breaks things out into separate sub-modules. And if you click on the, well, I think it's link here, right? Was it? It's one of these documentation. Is it? Oh no, here we go. The README on GitHub. Yeah. So if you click on this README, it will take you to the GitHub page, and you do have examples. So you have internationalization. You have files. Now, these are all different modules. So you have this one, which is actually pretty useful. Absolute URL. So what we can do is let's jump over. Go to extend and let's search for Bamboo. And we will install, which one is it? It is file, but we'll also install token. Because token then allows you to render tokens in Twig. So we've done that. And let's go ahead and install it. And it's going to ask for to install Bamboo Twig, which is correct. Then we can jump over to our content page. Let's scroll all the way down. And what we can do is grab this bit of code. For path. And you can see that we're using the Bamboo file URL absolute, and we're passing in, again, the same URI. And we can come along here and refresh, and we should get a full path, like so. There you go. You get an absolute path. And if you go to this, is it going to go to it? Oh, there you go. That's it. That's that image from one of the DrupalCons. Now there's also, I believe you can use, where is it? Token. So if you want to pull in and render out a few tokens, you can do so. Let's just copy this in, and this will give us the site name. So let's go back here. Let's add in a token. And this will give us then the site name. You can refresh. And we should see, if we scroll all the way down, we should see token. Yep, it's called Twig. That's the name of the site. Okay, there you go. So I think twig-tweak does allow for tokens as well. So they do have similar functionality, but again, it's what you want to use, what you prefer to use. And finally, the final module we're going to take a look at today. This isn't really around Twig, but it's important when you are doing Twig theming, and that is this template suggester. Because one thing you will notice a lot is if you inspect stuff right here and we come along in here, you will see that you have these suggestions. And these are great for 80% or 90% of use cases. But sometimes you want a bit more context on those file names because you want to specifically only modify the template for an image field on a particular node, on a particular media type, on even a particular ID, for example. Like you want to be very, very specific. And that's where you can use Twig Suggest. I don't know why it's called Twig when it's really got nothing to do with Twig. It just, yeah, I just thought about that now. Maybe it does have something to do with Twig, but really it's just a suggestion. There is a hook that you can use that you can go in there and just create your own suggestions. And it's all done in PHP anyway. All right, so to install it is pretty straightforward. It is just set and forget. So you just install it and you're done with it. So let's install it. Twig template suggester and click on install. And now if we come along in here, so just take note of these. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's see if that changes. Does that change actually? That option doesn't, but you can see, yeah, you can see here, field names above here. You get a lot more options when it comes to what is available. So you can load up, you can override the field for just node. So you can have the same template for fields which are just on the node block, or you can have it just on the node, but it's a featured image, or you can have it on a node and a featured image, but on a block. You can also have a node feature. You understand. But sometimes you may want to customize things yourself. So you can write, yeah, I think there is a hook suggests theme suggestions or something where you can customize things yourself. So there you have it. That's pretty much it. When it comes to using Twig, there is a fair bit to learn. I must admit, I started off by saying that, you know, Twig replaced PHP templates, and I do miss sometimes the ability to just write PHP code, honestly. And you can, in a way, do it just by implementing all of your functionality in the preprocessor and then just outputting that as a variable. And I've done that in the past, and I've done that a lot because so many times I've been in a situation where I know exactly what bit of PHP to write, and I just don't want to have to deal with Twig. So then I just do it in the preprocessor because you can essentially do it in here, write it in here, and then just output it out as a variable. And it just means that you do have a lot of code in your preprocessors, but then you can kind of break that out into separate files. So that is it. Thank you so much for joining me. If you want to learn more about, well, WebWash, just head over to webwash.net and also check out the other videos that we've got. And we do have a lot of videos under live. So if you are new to Drupal and you want to learn about Drupal, just go to WebWash, to the WebWash YouTube channel and click on live. And I'm getting pretty close to launching a premium community soon, where a lot of these videos will be edited and fixed up and ad-free, because right now they do have ads on YouTube, but the YouTube videos are still going to stay there for free, so you can go ahead and enjoy it. Anyway, if you have any questions, leave a comment, and if you have any ideas for other live streams, let me know. Anyway, thank you so much, and I'll catch you all next time. Oh, well, thank you very much for that super comment. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I just saw that now. No, thank you. Oh, thank you, thank you. All right. I hope everyone enjoyed that. So where is that? I will stay back a little bit just to see if you have any questions. This is where the real fun happens. Nah, I'm joking. But I will stop recording in the meantime so I don't have too much content. All right, that was fun. I wonder how many people on... interesting. TikTok's still going along. So I'm streaming. I use Restream to kind of manage things, and I'm streaming on TikTok. Because why not, you know? I'm curious to see. Oh, what the hell is this? The same shape. Oh, anyway. Oh, interesting. Okay. Cool. Anyway, hope everyone has a great weekend. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, I do hope the stream stayed up. I think it did, actually. I don't think it dropped. Where is it? Oh, it has 12 frames were dropped. Oh, no. Still, no, that's nothing. That's fine. Dropped frames, 12. Anyway, 0.01%. Anyway, that is okay. That is okay. I think everything went swimmingly. All right, well, let's just leave it at that. That was fun. That was fun. It is pretty cool, the Twig stuff you can do. But I do think, yeah, maybe what is it? It was this Twig Drupal Twig UI. Here it is. It was this one. You know what? Let's give it a go. Why not? Why not? Let's install it and see what happens. I'm sure people won't like it. Because you're installing, you know, you can go in there and modify things and directly in the back end. Oh no. Scary stuff, scary stuff. I'm curious what I sound like on these other platforms. No, it's interesting. Ah, it's kind of funny. I don't want to mention TikTok actually has the least amount of lag at all. It's like literally zero latency. It's actually very quick, whereas YouTube has like about a half a second or a few second latency. Yeah, that's good. It's good stuff. Maybe we can get a few TikTokers to start using Drupal. Well, Drupal's demographic is getting a little older these days, unfortunately. The cool kids don't like Drupal. Nah, that's a shame. Drupal's cool. What are you talking about? Nah. All right, I'll just try this out now, and I'll finish up. And I'll leave you all to it. Where is it? Twig UI templates. I'm very curious to see if this actually works. Oh no, well, thank you. Oh, no. Thank you. Well, love my stream. No, thank you for coming. Enjoy your weekend as well. Well, this weekend's gonna be a fun weekend because it's the beginning of a triple header for Formula One. I watch Formula One, so for I think it's all the way till June essentially, which is great. It's awesome. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. All right, now let's check this out. So where is this Twig templates? Allowed themes. No, selected themes. Will be pre-selected as default theme. All right, so now, but what do I do? How do I modify this? All right, come on here. Maybe on appearance? Yeah. All right, let's take a look at the code. What is it? Twig UI. This is the best way. Structure. Okay. Here we go. 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 I thought I can modify existing ones. Oh no, 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 no. Yeah. Load. Yeah, this is exactly what I want. Please select a theme and insert. So what is this? Test theme. Test theme. Hello. Save. Okay. Oh, template. Template code goes in there. However, oh, that's a shame. Doesn't quite work. Anyway, that's why I didn't really want to cover it because I need to get my head around this module. Interesting. Okay. Anyway, well, that's it from me. Thank you very much. Hope you all enjoyed it. Wait, what else? Can am I? Okay. Well, I'll jump off now. Hope you guys have a great weekend finishing up. All right.